It can, but it's about the build-up of your experience and about the support mechanisms that are in place to support you during your training, so that then come your NQT year, that you do feel fully prepared then to be confident in front of that class of pupils.
For those who don't know, that's newly qualified teacher, isn't it? I'm just thinking, I mean, the majority of new teachers, how much time would they normally get in a classroom?
Normally it's 20% of the time with the traditional PGCE, but the PGCE school direct route that we run at Hales Valley, it's 80% of time that is then spent in the classroom. So it kind of shifts the traditional route on its head. But what's really key to it is that it is still a day a week at university. So there is still that academic learning that underpins then the practical experience in the classroom.
And we ought to tell people what PGCE means as well.
Okay, it's the Postgraduate Certificate of Education.
And that effectively means that you can stand up and do it.
It does. I mean,
does it in practice mean that?
When people come to us with the graduate degree, so they have that interest in teaching to start with, and we do ask then that they have some school experience that we can help also provide them with before they start on the training. But then it is then about the support they get that year, and we do then continue to support them into their newly qualified teaching year.
Now we're talking with you about primary school, aren't we? What age will they teach? 4 to?
We do an early years degree and we do a primary degree. The primary degree covers 4 to 11-year-olds, and the early years foundation stage degree covers 3 to 7-year-olds.
Is it not daunting walking in for the first time in front of them all?
It certainly is. Yes, it certainly is. And we always encourage students to go into the school before their first day so that they've met the staff, they're used to the school environment, and they've even met some of the parents. So we do try and encourage that transition so it's not as daunting on that first day.
And they can also find out where the nearest exit is, just in case they decide to run away. I'm only joking.
It's the support that they then get from the classroom teacher. They're all put into a classroom with a good or outstanding teacher, and they're seeing from that role model every day. They're learning the 12 different subjects at least that they then teach on a weekly basis. So there is that variety in terms of getting their subject knowledge up to scratch. So they've got the class teacher for support. There's also a school mentor and a Hales Valley mentor. And then there's a university tutor as well. So there's a range of people who are there in terms of supporting them through, depending on how they get on and what support that they then need that we can put in place.
And at what point do you take all that support away and say, you're on your own?
From the end of autumn term, so before Christmas, they're working up to 50% teaching, and then by summer term, so up to sort of June, July time, they're doing 80% of whole class teaching then. So there is that gradual build up with the support of the class teacher. So they might do some group work to start with, and then there'll be some team teaching alongside the teacher, and then working up to whole class teaching so that it is scaffolded learning.
What's the hardest skill to acquire in that time, do you think?
I think it's the relationships that you're building with the members of staff in school.
Right.
Because from the minute they start in September, they are part of that school team of staff. So it's about building relationships with new colleagues, building close relationships with your class teacher and your mentor, also obviously with the children in the class and with the parents. So there's lots and lots of really good people skills, social skills there that also need to be built.
I mean, I can see that you will welcome the new people in, and the rest of the staff will. Possibly most of the children will. But when the parents come in, do they say, why is it a student? Why isn't it the proper teacher? They're
introduced as a member of staff into the school, and because there is the usual teacher in there as well, that it's very much seen as a team approach, and we haven't had an issue with that because of the way they've been introduced to the school. And as I said before, very often they've been introduced to the school the previous summer, so that they're not a new face, and they do make sure that they are visible before school to the parents on the playground.
So they don't ever run screaming out the building and saying, this is not for me?
I haven't had that yet, so I certainly hope not. I think you've very much got to be led by your school, but also everybody will bring such a wealth of different experiences with them based on the previous experience that they will have had in school that we recommend that everybody has before they apply. And that wealth of experience can come from the careers that they've had before in terms of developing like those social skills and working with those people in school. So I think there's a wealth of things that people will bring with them in terms of experience before they start.
Because you'll get a percentage who will be coming straight out of university.
Yeah.
They've gone school, college, university, teaching.
Yeah.
You'll get those with career changes. Do they bring a greater maturity and a broader vision to the job, do you think?
There is that, because there is that extra wealth of experience because they've worked in the workplace before. And we find actually for this type of teacher training, that tends to be the type of course that appeals to that type of person, because they like working in that work environment and they like being a member of staff as part of a team.
So are they particularly good if they've got the experience of their own children, or they've got younger brothers and sisters, so they've got a bit of an idea of how you keep them amused and entertained and educated?
We haven't really found a pattern there really, but it does very much come from the school experience or any sort of experience that they've had before in terms of working with children.
Those who've career changed, do most of them say, I've always wanted to do this and now is the time?
There's a real mixture of people who have ended up in a career that they really haven't wanted to do anymore. They found themselves in the wrong place, but the majority of which are people who come to us and say, actually, I've always wanted to teach, but now is the right time in my life for me. So I can dedicate the time now to be able to do that.
And what sort of jobs are they giving up to come and be teachers?
We had an air steward last year. We've had a nurse. We've had an accountant. There's a solicitor who's interested in applying for our course this year. So a real range of different careers.
Because you don't necessarily take a teaching job, A, for the money, or B, for the free time, do you?
No. I think it's very much a vocation, and it's, although there are lots and lots of perks to the job as well, it's very much the reward that you get from working with the children and seeing the growth and the lovely relationships that you build with the children in your class.
Is it the bright child, or is it the one who, to start with, doesn't seem too engaged? Through your skills, you get them engaged?
It can be both. You can have the most lovely children who will start at the beginning of the year and just be a delight right through. But also you'll have the challenges. And as a teacher, there's nothing more rewarding to actually see that child and how they've come on through that year with your support.
At 4 years old, though, they can't be that difficult, can they?
Some children can be quite challenging when they come into school, particularly if they haven't been in a nursery setting and they're not used to an educational environment, because obviously that's quite a shock to that child. But there are lots and lots of systems that we put in place in terms of transition into school in order to help that child start school, and the support, of course, for the family.
I was going to say, do we prepare children well enough to come into a school environment, do you think?
Definitely. I mean, Howes Valley Teachers School is based at Lutley Primary School in Halesowen, which is an outstanding primary school, and the early years transition programme that happens there is outstanding, and it's because the children are given the opportunity to visit the school several times before they start in September, and parents are encouraged to come in with them, so the child is used to that physical environment. They've met the members of staff before they start, and there's the gradual kind of weaning off the parent, so they'll come for a session with the parent or a family member first, then the next session it'll be a little bit shorter, it'll be half with the parent, half with a member of staff, and then the following session it would be to leave the child then for a couple of hours, so that there is a gradual build-up.
Because you will get some who find it difficult to settle, won't you?
Definitely, because it is a big shock if you're going from being at home all the time to then being in school in full-time education, and particularly if they haven't been used to a nursery setting.
And as a mum of two little boys, you're seeing it from both sides at the moment, aren't
I
you?
am, and it gives you that two really good perspectives. On average, each year we take about 10 PGCE trainees, and out of those 10 we have about 2 a year. So for primary teaching, that's quite good, and we've been really pleased to encourage those members of staff through.
Because traditionally it's been such a female preserve, hasn't it? lower, younger level teaching in schools?
It has, but it's really nice to see that there is the interest there, and it is about encouraging that and encouraging men into the profession, because it is really important that children in the classroom do have male role models as well as female.
I suspect if they're going to teach at primary school level, they need probably to have their own families, don't they, or be used to dealing with children like that, because it's going to be a bit of a shock if you're not used to it.
That is not essential. It's about having the school experience and coming in and having the right support when you're in and you're learning on the job, and obviously having the university with the academic reading as well that then will go alongside that.
So in terms of applying, what do you need to get in there? I suppose the days of 5 levels is all gone, isn't it?
Anybody who's interested in applying needs GCSE English, Maths and Science, grade C or above, and they need a degree class, a 2-1 or above, because we're affiliated with the University of Birmingham to offer the PGCE, and their minimum criteria is a 2-1. And they'll then need to undertake the government skills tests. There is a test in maths and English, but that's done then as part of the application process. So applications are done through UCAS, which is www.ucas.com. People can find out more information as well from our website, which is www.hvts.org.uk, which is Howes Valley Teaching School. And on the UCAS website, you apply online. So whoever you want to do your teacher training with, it's all done through UCAS. You apply onto that website. You can search for training providers on there. So you can search for Howes Valley Teaching School on there. You can select up to 3 people to train with when you do your application. And it's a personal statement. You talk about the school experience you've got, your qualifications, and then 2 references that all go on there. And then those providers then see that application online.
Once you've gone through all of that, is there a guarantee of a job at the end of it?
Once they've completed their PGCE year, we have a 100% pass rate and 100% employability, and we feel very much that that's down to the fact that it's a school-based training programme, and the schools have so much more autonomy now because they're involved in training that teacher alongside us. We have 20 partner schools, so if the trainee is of high quality and they've been training at that school, then that school, if a position becomes available, obviously they have a very good chance when they apply.
Rebecca,